Here, and on this channel I want to start a new series. I think it's time for us to start looking at what's next. We know what occurred, so now we need to start looking at what goes beyond that. What's the future? What do we need to do to facilitate moving that forward? So there's going to be, as news and information comes out about what occurred, I'll be updating that here. But the primary focus of this series is going to be the call to actions on future events that are going to need to take place, and on thinking about what the future might look like and getting prepared for that future. So I'm going to go through right now a video. I'm going to show you this video from a former president, and then we're going to start getting into what we know about what occurred, and then we're going to start going to give you some thoughts on what's next.
The driver, the government is the car, and we decide where it should go and by what route and how fast. Almost all the world's constitutions are documents in which governments tell the people what their privileges are. Our Constitution is a document in which we, the people, tell the government what it is allowed to do. We, the people, are free. But man is not free unless government is limited. There's a clear cause and effect here that is as neat and predictable as a law of physics. As government expands, liberty contracts. Nothing is less free than pure communism. We must keep up our guard. But we must also continue to work together to lessen and eliminate tension and mistrust. It's still trust, but verify. It's still play, but cut the cards. It's still watch closely, and don't be afraid to see what you see. You won every battle with every call you made and letter you wrote demanding action. Well, action is still needed. This national feeling is good, but it won't count for much, and it won't last unless it's grounded in thoughtfulness and knowledge. An informed patriotism is what we want. And are we doing a good enough job teaching our children what America is and what she represents in the long history of the world? We've got to do a better job of getting across that America is freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of enterprise, and freedom is special and rare. It's fragile. It needs production. So we've got to teach history based not on what's in fashion, but what's important. Why the Pilgrims came here, who Jimmy Doolittle was, and what those 30 seconds over Tokyo meant. If we forget what we did, we won't know who we are. Let's start with some basics. More attention to American history and a greater emphasis on civic ritual. And let me offer lesson number one about America. All great change in America begins at the dinner table. So tomorrow night in the kitchen, I hope the talking begins. And children, if your parents haven't been teaching you what it means to be an American, let them know and nail them on it. That would be a very American thing to do. I've spoken of the shining city all my political life, but I don't know if I ever quite communicated what I saw when I said it. But in my mind, it was a tall, proud city built on rocks stronger than oceans, windswept, God-blessed, and teeming with people of all kinds living in harmony and peace. Goodbye, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Okay, so I want to start going over a little bit in this video of what we know, just to give it a summary, a place to start, and then I want most of these in the videos in this series to be about what's next, what's the future, what's the call to action. So what we know is that there's been audits in the past, and those audits have been conducted by the people that ran the elections. So if we look at the definition of what an audit is performed by an independent body, somebody that's outside looking at what occurred or what happened or the results of. Um, and so we're just starting to see some of those starting to happen out in Arizona and in New Hampshire. And then now, this past Friday, we've got the unsealing of the ballots in Georgia. So we've got some of that starting to happen, but we know that the audits that had occurred before, that the Secretaries of States have pushed back, done everything that they can do to prevent any third party, anybody outside of government or outside of who ran the elections, from seeing or um, or auditing the information themselves. So, at this point, we need to ask why. Why are they preventing that from happening? Why is Katie Hobbs out in Arizona being so forceful on getting the audit out there shut down? It's got to be shut down. It's wasting taxpayer money. It's, at this point, there was an article that came out about, it's going to decertify the machines, and at this point, we agree. Those machines need to be decertified. They don't need to be ever used ever again, and that's something that we agree on. So let's just have the machines decertified. That will fix the problem of using them, won't it? So, at this point, we know some of the results from the affidavits. So there's been affidavits filed on people that were part of those original audits that saw things that were anomalies they thought was weird. They did affidavits on them, and as part of those affidavits, we are now starting to find in Arizona and in New Hampshire where those affidavits are truthful. So this past weekend in New Hampshire, it's been proven that the tabulator machines, as they're running paper through it with folds, is causing, if it's got a fold in it, it's got a 25 to 75% inaccuracy rate on those folded papers. That is going to impact lots of other states that use those particular machines. We also know that there's corruption, and we've got evidence of destruction of evidence, deletion of databases. We know that the database was deleted. It has since been recovered, which then the media reports it as, they're walking it back or whatever. Well, originally the database was deleted. We have recovered the database. There's also this thing on them not giving the passwords to these machines. Well, my experience, I've been doing IT for 30 years, and we're taking images of these machines. We can take these images of the machines and create virtual computers we can spin them up as if they were the original machine, and we can change the password. Microsoft has a password recovery. We can just boot to a command prompt as an administrator and change the password. Boot that virtual machine on up. Now we've got full administrator access to those machines, to that particular image of the machine. So with that, once we have that administrator access to that, then at that point we can start looking at registry entries for the way hardware inside the machine was drivers, if there was modem cards. At this point, there is information that's in the images that we don't really need the administrator password. I think at this point that's being used as a way to show exactly how much pushback and how this Dominion company is not wanting to cooperate with us, not wanting to actually show what's happening inside the machine. So, as we boot up these virtual images, we're going to get the data that we need to prove what's really happening on them. So, I pray every day that God looks over us and that He gives us strength and wisdom to come to peaceful resolutions in these situations. But I also want to be prepared for if the level of corruption and fraud is what we think it is, that we could be in for a fairly major impact, and I want to just be prepared for that. So until the next video, please like, comment, subscribe.